Hello everyone, John here from Gaming in the Wild, and I've got an interesting video for you today. I think like a lot of you, I finished Clair Obscur Expedition 33 recently, and it was such a big, all-encompassing, dramatic game that I think I needed a little come down, and luckily enough for me, 3 games have been on my slate for a little bit. 2 of them are new, one of them's been out for a little while, and they're all kind of puzzle-related or roguelikes or deck builders, and I find this kind of game to be really, really relaxing. So I decided to pull these 3 games together. If any of you out there, like me, have an Expedition 33 hangover, these could be just the games you need. I'm going to start off by talking about Tetris Forever. Obviously Tetris has been around forever, but this game actually contains a brand new version of Tetris that I've been transfixed by, honestly. Then I'm going to move on to talking about Vaders. You may have heard about this one. It's picking up quite a lot of buzz. It is the new deck building roguelike where you start off with a little mech, you power it up with new weapons that get really, really powerful and fun to use, with new moves so you can shoot around the play area in a really fun way by the end. And then I will round things out by talking about Duchy. This is the village builder with a strategic combat element and a Tetris phase as well. Really interesting little game. So enjoy the video. I hope you find something fun to play. If you do, then hit the like button. You can always subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in your feed. You can share the video with friends. I really appreciate that. And let me know what your most relaxing game is in the comments. What do you play when you need to relax, when you need to calm down? I'm always looking for games like that, so please share yours with me. And a big thank you to the show's newest patrons, Susanna Maria, Alex, Parker, Tunlethon, and Stepan. If you would like to join them in supporting this channel, I will tell you about the channel's Patreon at the end. And with that, let's go. So Tetris Forever is a Digital Eclipse Gold Master series game, and it is about Tetris. The Gold Master series is like a kind of game archaeology, game preservation, classic game celebration series. And it's not just games, it's like Digital Eclipse do this really cool work where they have videos showing the makers of the games, they have classic interviews, they talk to the developers. So they are really like journalistic love letters to the game, but they also contain loads of playable versions of games as well, and there are 15 different versions of Tetris to play in Tetris Forever. These include a recreation of the first ever Tetris. You might have seen it if you watched the Tetris movie. It was made on the Electronica 60 out in Russia, and it's just like green characters against a black background. It doesn't have any of the complexity or the things that were built upon Tetris over time, but it's amazing how it just captures the spirit of Tetris even today. And this is a recreation of that game. So even though it is the original Tetris, I think shout out to Digital Eclipse for going the extra mile and making it playable on modern devices. You can also try out 5 early versions of Tetris that were made for MS-DOS, including Bomb Bliss, where you drop bombs and they blow up all of the bricks, with Weltris, Hatris, Tetris Battle Gaiden, a Japanese multiplayer variant. And these are all really interesting curiosities, but you do feel like some of the most iconic variants of Tetris are missing. Like the ones that I grew up with were Game Boy Tetris and Tetris DS. And I guess there was some kind of licensing thing there because those games aren't here, but there are 15 versions to try, so there's lots to get into, and I think for Tetris fans it's a must-buy really. And Tetris might seem like a simple game, but there are small differences that you notice in the gameplay, such as how you drop pieces, whether you can move them after you've dropped them, how long pieces linger on a surface when you turn them, can you turn them after they hit another block, and so forth. And the new version of Tetris that is on this compilation actually brings all of that together in a really smart way, because Tetris Time Warp is a version of Tetris that's very modern feeling, but every now and then you will get a retro piece that will drop during your Tetris game. If you wipe out that piece, then you will be warped back in time to the version of Tetris that it's from, and you will then have 20 seconds to score as many bonus points as possible. And when you're warped back, it's not just where you were in the game, it's like a little Tetris puzzle. You know when people who play chess set up a strange situation that they then have to think their way out of? It's a little bit like that for Tetris players, and it also uses the old movesets. So if you play all 15 variants of Tetris in Tetris Forever, it will really help you with Tetris Time Warp, because you will remember like the different control schemes and the different ways that the blocks can be manipulated. So I thought it was really ingenious. It's a great way to tie together the 15 variants with one new one, and it's out on all the consoles and Switch. It's obviously perfect for handheld, so I think Switch and Steam Deck are great places to play it, but you can also try it on consoles if you want. That's Tetris Forever. The second game that I'm going to talk about is Vaders. You may have heard about this one. It is picking up a lot of buzz, and I'm really happy about that because this is the first game to be released by 3 recently graduated game dev students coming out of Montreal that go under the name Pengonauts. So the fact that this is a hit is a really heartwarming story, but the game really does deserve the hype. I hadn't heard about this one until it popped up on my Fantasy Critic channel in Discord with an 86 score, and I was like, shit, I wish I'd brought it on my Fantasy Critic team. So I reached out to the developers, they sent me a review copy, thank you very much for that. I started it up, I was was instantly hooked. I'm now 10 hours deep with 2 characters unlocked. I'm working on playing runs with different difficulty levels to unlock the final class. I've unlocked loads of new card packs, new mechs, and higher difficulties. And I'm still going strong. So what is Star Vaders exactly? It's an addictive little tactics game with a roguelike structure, with deck building, with a light touch story. At the start of each game, you select the class that you would like to work with, and each one is a different kind of mech that has 3 pilots you can choose. Each pilot comes with different moves and a backstory that you will discover as you play. And I think adding a little bit of story, even though it's not spectacular writing or anything, really gives you a little carrot to continue. I think roguelikes need that. They are a genre that thrives on repetition, and so it needs to have something that is moving beyond the grind. And I think that's why Hades is the godlike roguelike that rules the genre, because as well as the new weapons and playstyles, it had a meta story, it had character affinities, it had new dialogue every time you finish a run. And I think that's why I stuck with Hades, whereas I didn't with other games like Rogue Legacy. So of course Star Vaders has that, but the core of this game is the combat. It's a tactics game played on a grid. Enemies come down from the top in waves. The bottom is your base area, kind of like an end zone, and you have to take out the waves of enemies before they get there. If they linger in your end zone for more than one turn, they start generating doom. You have 5 pips of doom, and then you're done. At the start of each turn, you draw some cards. You start off with simple ones like move to move your mech around, like shooting or planting a bomb. Most enemies are one-hit kills. Others have a shield you have to drop first. If you throw a bomb, you can shoot it for area of effect damage. It's simple and clean and a nice starting moveset. But it ramps up in complexity quickly in a really pleasing way, because after each bout, you get a choice of upgrades and new cards that include things like ricocheting bullets, powering up cards to play twice, cards that replenish your AP to extend your turn, your action points, and eventually you'll have drones, nukes, lasers, and so forth. And before long, you're armed to the teeth, mowing down ranks and ranks of enemies in a really incredibly pleasing way. My favorite strategy that I've discovered so far is to get the Fire Everything card, where your mech will just blaze all of its weapons up in one go, not just in your hand, but in your deck. And if you can combine that with the artifact that doubles the cards in your deck, so you get a copy of every card, Fire Everything will just clear the screen. It's really, really fun to do. The game also has bosses that are like little combat puzzles to solve, like an endlessly splitting slime, like a lake monster with area of effect splash damage, like a hydra with lots of heads you have to keep at bay. And I've really enjoyed the progression with this one so far. The first class that you get is an artillery-based mech, where it's mostly ranged attacks, and you don't move around too much, you're heavy, you shoot from range, but the second class is completely different. It has a battery-based system where you shock enemies, and then when you hit them, you recharge your battery, so you can keep playing and playing and playing as long as you're shocking, and then draining all of that energy back into your mech. Very, very cool. There is also a third class that I haven't unlocked yet. You have to do that by defeating hard mode on each of the previous classes, and that is crazy. There are very tough modifiers that strengthen enemies and make the puzzle even harder. So I really like this. This is a really solid, well thought out little game. It scratched the Advance Wars itch that I didn't know I had. It's Steam only for now, so it's a perfect Steam Deck game. I'm sure it will be coming to the consoles. That's Star Vaders. And the final new game that I'm going to talk about in this video is Drop Duchy. You might have heard about this one as well. It's been picking up a little bit of steam on Twitch, and with Monster Train 2 also coming later in May, it's crazy that we've got 3 deck building roguelikes of this quality coming out in 1 month. So Drop Duchy is a different kind of roguelike. It's more chilled out. It starts off with a very slow strategic Tetris variant where you're slotting together a landscape on which you're about to fight. You slot together different terrain cards like lake, forest, mountain, and plain, and when you complete lines, you will get resources that you can then use to upgrade your cards between bouts. But there is a battle element to it as well. As you're slotting the landscape together, you'll be putting in your buildings as well. Like if you put a watchtower next to a bunch of plain cards, you will get more archers and be stronger in the combat phase. If you have a wooden fortress, you can put it amongst the trees and it will get more power from that. So you can be strategic about how you build the landscape and how you build your deck. And as well as your pieces, you're also going to be slotting in the enemy installations too. Enemies will have siege camps that get power if they're near one of your installations. They will have mercenary camps that have high garrison and loads of power. So you have to be strategic. You have to try and screw over the enemy as much as possible while making the landscape as advantageous as possible for your troops. And after you've slotted the landscape together, you will move on to the combat phase. There are 3 types of units. There are ranged, light, and heavy. There's like an order of play mechanism here where you can use your archers to take out the heavy attacks. You can use your swordsmen to take out the archers. It's really fun. And then you just kind of hit go and you watch it all unfold. And if at the end of the battle you have some units left, they will turn into gold and you have won. If the enemy has units left over, then you have lost, and you'll take some pips off of your health. When your health bar goes to 0, then it's run over. But of course, it being a roguelike, progression is all important, and you can pick up new cards along the way, so you can shape your strategy towards different terrain types. You can unlock technology cards that will help you out in different ways, and there's a meta progression. There are lots of little mini challenges inside of the game. For example, you'll get a little trophy pop if you have 100 archers on one map, if you have a river running from top to bottom, if you have 20 plains that have been grown into fields, and every time you pop one of these achievements, you get a point to unlock even more cards and 3 different factions that have completely different playstyles. So there is a lot of meat on the bone here, I think. I have 20 hours in this game, so this is the one that got my attention the most out of all of the games that I've talked about today. I've had 10 or so winning runs using different strategies like the classic farmland and archer tactic, or focusing on making lots of gold and using barracks to recruit troops. And I do have one major criticism of the game though, and that is that the first faction is by far the most fun to play as. The second and third do offer new mechanics, but I didn't enjoy them quite as much. So the Duchy was my favourite by a long way, but I would love to hear from Drop Duchy fans. Do you like the Republic and the third faction more than the Duchy, or have you been playing mostly with the Duchy like me? So for me, that kind of rules it out as a truly long-term Balatro style obsession, but having spent 20 hours in it, I mean, that's not nothing, and I still have plenty of playtime left in this one. It's a perfect little bedtime game, a perfect Steam Deck game. I'm sure it will be coming to consoles too. That's Drop Duchy. So that's our video for today, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Of course, there are many more relaxing games. You know, I really enjoy playing Breath of the Wild. I play it on flights. I just go around places I've never been and find Koroks. I find No Man's Sky really relaxing. I've built this giant, ridiculous base with loads of geodesic domes and all of the different vehicles, and a little racetrack that I can run around in my Jeep and my motorbike and that kind of thing. I still play Balatro now and then, although I'm trying to break the addiction. That game is just endlessly pleasing to me, and I think it's something about how complicated it is. Like, it engages all of my brain in a really calm way. And then, of course, perhaps the most relaxing game of all time for me personally is A Short Hike. If you have not played this one, you simply have to. It's just a little game where you run around on an island trying to get phone signal. You'll find out why at the end of the game. But my advice for A Short Hike is not to rush it. I've heard from people who played A Short Hike and finished it in minutes, like 20 minutes. And you can if you want to, but there's about 4 hours of gameplay here. You can walk around the island, take your time, treat it like a little summer holiday, and you will have a great time. And if you would like to discover more indie games, I have a suggestion for you. Come support this channel on Patreon from as little as $1 a month, as well as getting the satisfaction of knowing that you're supporting me and making these videos for you. You will also get an invite to our beautiful little Patreon community on Discord, where there are loads of people sharing the games that they love every day. I have discovered so many indie games on the Discord, and there are just so many lovely people there. There's over 100 people that have joined the Patreon now, and if you would like to become one of them and join our little Discord community, away from all the chaos of social media and the gamer internet, then you're welcome to. It's just $1 a month. It's patreon.com/gaminginthewild. I will flash up a link on the screen now, and there is one in the description as well. As always, an extra special thank you on every video to my boss tier patron Shy Guy, who's on the $10 tier. But a big thank you to everyone that's on the $1 tier, the $3 and the $5 as well. And with that, let's end this video. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you on the next one.